If you want to change your life, it all starts with your mind. Too many people feel stuck, overwhelmed, or like they're not reaching their potential. They blame circumstances, external factors, or other people for their lack of progress. But what if I told you that the biggest barrier standing between you and the life you want is your own thinking? The way you think, the way you react, and the way you manage your thoughts can either push you forward or hold you back. This is your chance to break free. The moment to rebuild your mind is now. You are not doomed to stay in the same place, trapped by your past mistakes or the weight of self-doubt. You can create a new path, a stronger, more focused version of yourself, but it starts with the way you think. In this video, we're going to dive deep into how you can train your mind for a new life. It's about shifting your mindset, taking control of your thoughts, and challenging the habits that have been keeping you stuck. We'll explore practical ways to overcome fear, push past resistance, and build mental toughness. You'll learn how to face obstacles with confidence, quiet your inner critic, and develop a disciplined approach to success. I know it's not always easy, but nothing worth having ever is. The good news, you can start right now. You don't have to wait for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment is always when you decide to take action. This is your opportunity to step up and take control of your mental habits, your mindset, and your future. So, if you're ready to make a change, to take responsibility for your thoughts and your actions, stick with me through this video. I promise you, if you apply what you learn here, you'll be on your way to becoming the person you've always wanted to be. Let's dive in and rebuild your mind. One thought at a time. Chapter 1. Face your truth and stop running from it now. Most people spend years trying to fix their lives without ever facing the one thing that's been holding them back the whole time: themselves. They blame their circumstances. They point to their past. They say it's because of this person or that mistake. But they never stop. They never look themselves in the mirror and say, I've been avoiding the truth about who I am and where I stand. That's the beginning of real change. That's when growth starts. You can't rebuild anything until you admit what's broken. You can't become stronger until you admit where you're weak. And you can't move forward if you keep pretending there's nothing holding you back. You have to stop running. Not from other people, but from yourself. It's time to slow down and be brutally honest. Where are you really in life? Not where you tell others you are, not the version you share online. The real you, the one you see when nobody else is around. That version is the one that needs your full attention. Because until you deal with that person, nothing changes. You can read 100 books. You can listen to all the motivational speakers in the world, but if you're still running from your truth, none of it matters. You're still stuck. And deep down you know it. I've met people who wear a smile every day, but cry when the door closes. They pretend they're fine. They laugh in public and break down in private. Not because they're weak, not because they're broken beyond repair, but because they've been hiding from themselves for too long. They've been carrying pain they never admitted they had. They've been avoiding conversations they should have had years ago with themselves. And that pain turns into anger. That hiding turns into confusion. And that silence turns into stress that eventually controls everything. You've got to sit with yourself and say, this is where I messed up. This is what I've been avoiding. This is who I've become. That moment might hurt, but it's the most powerful thing you can do, because until you face it, you can't fix it. You've got to look your pain in the face. You've got to stand in the middle of your disappointments and say, I see you, and I'm not afraid of you anymore. That's what mental strength looks like. It's not pretending you have no problems, it's choosing to face your problems head on. You see, when you face your truth, everything becomes clear. You stop pretending. You stop wasting energy hiding. And that energy, you can now use it to build, to grow, to become someone stronger. But clarity only comes after honesty. And most people never get that clarity because they never get honest. They think if they ignore their flaws, their mistakes, and their patterns, maybe they'll go away. But they don't. They just grow in the dark. They get stronger, and they shape your decisions without you realizing it. You've got to be willing to say, I've been wrong about a lot of things. That's not weakness. That's maturity. That's strength. Because the moment you do that, you start getting your power back. You stop playing the victim. You stop depending on others to fix you. You realize it's always been in your hands. Always. And from that place you can start making decisions that change your life. Facing your truth isn't about guilt. It's not about shame. It's about responsibility. It's about looking at your life and asking, what part of this do I control? Because the answer is more than you think. You can't control what happened 10 years ago, but you can control how you respond today. You can't erase the past, but you can write a new chapter that doesn't repeat it. That's what rebuilding yourself mentally really means. It means stopping the cycle. It means saying, this ends with me. And it starts when you stop avoiding who you are. Most people are afraid of facing the truth because they think it'll destroy them. But the truth doesn't destroy you. The hiding does. The pretending does. The act of living two lives, one for the world and one you keep in secret, that's what breaks you. But once you face it, something powerful happens. You stop fearing exposure. You stop being scared of people's opinions, and you start living freely. That's a feeling no amount of money or success can give you. It's peace. Real, grounded peace that doesn't depend on anything or anyone. And here's the thing. The truth is never as scary as you think. Yes, it might hurt. It might sting. You might feel regret. You might feel lost. But underneath all that pain is potential. Real, untapped potential that you've been ignoring. The truth might break your ego, but it builds your character. And in the end, that's the only thing that matters, who you're becoming when nobody's watching. There are people who go years without ever having one real conversation with themselves. They keep busy. They chase success. They try to impress people who don't care about them. And deep down they feel empty. Not because life is unfair. Not because they don't have what it takes. But because they never stopped long enough to ask, am I really okay with who I am right now? That question scares people. But it's the key to everything. That's the question that opens the door to real growth. You want to rebuild your mind. You want to start a new life. Then go sit in silence. Turn off the noise. Cut off the distractions. And get real about what's actually going on inside you. Ask yourself the questions you've been avoiding. Be honest about your habits. Be honest about your insecurities. Be honest about your mistakes. You're not doing this to beat yourself up. You're doing this to finally take control of your life. And don't expect it to be easy. It's uncomfortable. It brings up emotions. It exposes things you thought were buried. But that's the process. Growth doesn't come from comfort. It comes from choosing to do what most people won't. It comes from being real in a world full of masks. It comes from facing what others run from. And that's where real confidence is born. Not fake confidence. Not the kind you get from praise or likes. Real confidence that comes from knowing you faced your truth and didn't fall apart. You owe it to yourself to stop pretending. You owe it to your future to stop running. Because if you don't face it now, it'll keep chasing you. It'll show up in your relationships. It'll creep into your goals. It'll sabotage your progress. You can't outrun your truth. It will always catch up. And when it does, it's either going to destroy you or transform you. You get to choose which one. So today is the day. No more hiding. No more excuses. Sit with yourself. Own your story. Say, this is who I am. This is where I've been. And this is what I need to fix. That's where your power begins. That's the moment you start becoming someone new. That's when you stop living the same day on repeat. That's when your new life begins. And don't wait for motivation. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The truth doesn't care about timing. The truth shows up when you're ready to be free. And freedom doesn't come from changing your environment. It comes from changing your mind. It comes from stepping into honesty. Raw, unfiltered, direct honesty that wakes you up. That shakes you. That pushes you to finally say, enough is enough. You don't need permission to change. You don't need approval. You just need courage. You need the courage to face what's been holding you back. You need the courage to deal with your own mind. And once you do that, everything gets lighter. You think clearer. You move differently. You walk into rooms with quiet confidence because you know who you are. And you're not afraid of it anymore. It's not easy. It never is. But it's worth it. Because when you stop running from yourself, you start building a life that actually feels like yours. You stop living in fear. You stop feeling stuck. You stop chasing validation. And you start moving with purpose. That's what it means to rebuild yourself mentally. That's what it means to train your mind for a new life. It starts with the truth. And the truth starts with you. So face it now. Own it. And use it to become someone stronger than you ever imagined. Chapter 2. Cut off anything that weakens your mental focus. Every single day, your mind is in a fight. A real one. Not with anyone else, but with everything around you trying to steal your attention. And here's the truth that most people don't want to face. The world doesn't care about your focus. It doesn't care about your goals. It's full of distractions designed to keep you mentally weak, emotionally scattered, and spiritually empty. And if you don't learn how to cut those distractions off, you will never take control of your life. You will drift. You will wander. And you will wake up one day asking yourself, what happened to the person I wanted to become? You cannot rebuild yourself mentally while you're still surrounded by what's tearing you down. There are people, habits, apps, shows, conversations, environments, and routines that drain your mental strength every time you engage with them. And the scary part, you've gotten used to it. You scroll, you watch, you gossip, you react, you compare. You let these things creep into your head, and they start running the show. They determine how you feel. They shape your mood. They influence your decisions. And slowly your focus is gone, not because you're not capable, but because you never chose to protect it. Mental focus is fragile. You don't just have it. You build it. You train it. You guard it like something valuable. And if you let anything enter your life that weakens that focus, you are letting go of your power. You're choosing weakness. You're choosing noise. You're choosing emotional chaos over discipline. That's not something that gets fixed by motivation. That's something that only gets fixed when you finally say enough. Look around your life right now. Be honest. What are you giving your time to that doesn't serve your future? What do you let into your head that distracts you from becoming better? If it doesn't bring you peace, clarity, strength, or direction, it does not deserve your attention. It's stealing from you, not just your time but your energy, your drive, your mental sharpness. You can't think clearly when your brain is full of junk. You can't grow mentally strong if you keep allowing things that constantly pull you backward. Some of the hardest decisions in life are not about what to start, but about what to cut off. You don't grow by always adding more. Sometimes you grow by removing. And the truth is, your next level of mental strength will require you to let go of things that feel comfortable. Comfort is where your focus goes to die. You get too used to what feels easy, too used to what gives you quick pleasure. But that kind of pleasure comes at a price, and the price is your focus. Start with your phone. How many times do you check it in a day for no reason? Be real with yourself. How many hours have you given away to things that don't matter? Notifications, endless scrolling, mindless videos. None of them are building you. None of them are sharpening you. Yet you keep feeding your mind with them. Your brain is not designed to be hit with constant noise. That noise wears you down. It weakens your decision-making. It turns your thoughts into chaos. And the worst part is, you do it voluntarily. You give your mind away piece by piece. Cut it off. Not in theory. Not someday. Now. Delete the apps that waste your time. Unfollow the people who distract your thinking. Mute the noise. Turn off what doesn't add value to your mind. Your focus deserves more respect than that. You don't get clarity by hoping for it. You get it by cleaning up your mental environment. But it's not just digital distractions. It's people too. There are people in your life who drain your energy with every conversation. They complain. They gossip. They bring negativity and confusion. And you keep them around because you're afraid of being alone. But if someone is weakening your focus, they are weakening your future. That's not something you can ignore. You don't owe access to anyone who messes with your peace. If they can't respect your growth, they don't get to be part of your journey. It's that simple. Don't keep people around who keep you stuck. And let's talk about habits. Some of you are mentally exhausted. Not because life is hard, but because your habits are trash. You stay up late doing nothing productive. You wake up with no plan. You go through your day on autopilot. You react instead of lead. You feed your mind junk food. Pointless entertainment, meaningless news, opinions from strangers who don't know anything about your life. And then you wonder why you feel distracted, overwhelmed, behind. That's not a mystery. That's the cost of neglecting your focus. Your habits shape your mental strength. You can't train your mind while living a sloppy life. Discipline isn't just about working harder. It's about thinking smarter. It's about choosing to do what builds you even when no one's watching. Every day you have a choice. Will you protect your mind, or will you keep giving it away? The world is full of people who had potential but lost it because they never learned how to focus. They kept saying, "I'll change tomorrow." They kept saying it's not a big deal. But tomorrow turned into years. And the little things turned into patterns. And now they're stuck. Not because they're not talented, but because they never said no to what was breaking them down. If you want to be different, you have to act different. You have to cut things off. Not gently, not slowly, but fully and directly. This is your life we're talking about. Not a game, not a test run. Every hour matters. Every decision counts. And every distraction you allow weakens the foundation you're trying to build. You say you want change. Then act like it. Stop giving your time to things that have no place in your future. Start living like your focus is sacred. Because it is. You don't need more time. You need better focus. You don't need more motivation. You need more discipline. The greatest breakthroughs in your life won't come from adding more. They'll come from cutting off what no longer belongs. So clean your space. Protect your peace. Guard your energy. And stop letting anything weak steal from your mental strength. The moment you cut off what weakens you, you start to feel different. You get clearer. You feel lighter. You stop second-guessing. You stop trying to be everywhere. You stop chasing what doesn't matter. You gain confidence not from hype, but from clarity. And clarity comes from focus. The kind of focus that comes from living with intention. Don't overcomplicate this. This isn't about perfection. It's about standards. What do you allow in your life? What do you tolerate? What do you keep around even though you know it's killing your focus? That's where the work begins. Not outside. Inside. Not someday. Now you're not broken. You're distracted. You're not lazy. You're just overwhelmed by too much that doesn't serve you. So simplify. Cut off what weakens your mind. Cut off what kills your clarity. And rebuild a life that's led by purpose, not noise. That's how you train your mind. That's how you build mental strength. Not by doing more, but by doing what actually matters. Start now, because your future depends on what you cut off today. Chapter 3. Train your thoughts to fight negativity every day. Every day you are presented with two choices: to let negativity consume you or to fight it with everything you've got. The battle for your mind is a real one, and it's happening all the time. Negativity is not something that simply appears when things are bad. It sneaks in when everything seems fine too. It comes from within and from the world around you. It's the self-doubt you hear when you wake up, the fears that tell you you're not enough, the voices that tell you it's too late. And if you don't recognize it, you will let negativity dictate your life. The truth is, negativity doesn't have to win. You don't have to succumb to it. But if you want to build a strong, resilient mind, you have to train your thoughts to fight it every day. Negativity doesn't get a free pass. It's a lie that lives in the shadows, feeding off your weaknesses, your insecurities, your fears. It thrives when you're not paying attention, when you're too busy or too tired to put up a fight. But you have the power to change that. You have the power to choose what you think, what you believe, and ultimately what you allow to shape your reality. The first step to training your thoughts to fight negativity is to recognize that it's a choice. Yes, you can't control every negative thought that pops into your head, but you can control whether or not you entertain it. Every time a negative thought arises, you have a decision to make. Will you allow it to dictate your emotions, your actions, and your life? Or will you challenge it, fight back, and replace it with something positive, something empowering, something that serves your growth? This is the essence of mental discipline, not allowing negativity to take hold. The key to defeating it lies in your ability to interrupt its pattern. Whenever a negative thought arises, don't let it sit, don't let it linger, don't let it grow. You must instantly recognize it for what it is: a distraction, a lie, a threat to your success. Instead of letting it spiral, ask yourself one simple question: is this thought helping me? If the answer is no, then don't give it another second of your attention. It's important to remember that negativity is never permanent. It's like a cloud passing through your mind. It may seem overwhelming at the moment, but just like a cloud, it will eventually pass. Your job is to stay grounded, to stay focused, and to not allow that temporary feeling to control your long-term actions. The more you practice this, the stronger your mental muscle will become. The more you challenge negative thoughts, the less power they'll have over you, and before you know it, you'll be able to brush them off without even thinking twice. Now, this doesn't mean you should ignore problems or difficulties. Fighting negativity doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect or that you're never going to feel down. It simply means you don't allow negative thoughts to define you or control your actions. Life is full of challenges, and the reality is that you can't avoid them. But how you respond to them is what truly matters. Are you going to focus on the problem, or are you going to focus on the solution? Are you going to dwell on what went wrong, or are you going to look for the lesson in the experience? Your mind is like a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds you plant. If you keep planting seeds of negativity, you will grow a garden of weeds, self-doubt, fear, insecurity, frustration. But if you plant seeds of positivity, self-belief, and resilience, you will create a mental landscape that supports your growth. You will be able to face challenges head-on, not because you are free from difficulties, but because you are equipped to handle them with a clear and focused mind. Training your thoughts to fight negativity also means taking responsibility for what enters your mind. You can't let just anything in. If you constantly feed your mind with negative influences, whether it's toxic people, constant complaining, or mindless news, you are programming yourself for failure. But if you choose to surround yourself with positivity, whether it's uplifting content, inspiring books, or conversations with people who build you up, you are setting yourself up for success. You have the power to decide what you allow into your mind. And if you want to fight negativity, you must become very selective about the thoughts and influences you entertain. One of the most powerful tools you have in this battle is your ability to replace negative thoughts with empowering ones. Every time a negative thought arises, replace it with a positive affirmation or a constructive thought that moves you forward. For example, if you think, "I'm not good enough," replace it with, "I am capable of growth and improvement." If you think, "I'll never get it right," replace it with, "I will learn from my mistakes and keep moving forward." If you think, "It's too late for me," replace it with, "It's never too late to start working on my dreams." These shifts might seem small, but they add up over time, and before you know it, you will be in control of your thoughts instead of your thoughts controlling you. But training your thoughts isn't a one-time event, it's a daily practice. It's something you need to commit to every single day. You need to become aware of your thoughts and intentional about what you allow to dominate your mind. When you wake up in the morning, start your day with a positive thought or affirmation. When challenges arise, remind yourself of your strength and resilience. When negativity strikes, meet it with positivity, gratitude, and a clear plan to move forward. Remember, your mind is a powerful tool, and like any tool, it requires care and attention. The more you train it, the sharper it becomes. The more you resist negativity, the stronger your mental resilience will be. Every time you choose to fight negativity, you are conditioning yourself for success. You are building mental strength that will serve you through every challenge and setback that life throws your way. In the end, it all comes down to your ability to choose. Will you let negativity rule your thoughts, or will you take charge of your mind and fight back? Every day is an opportunity to train your thoughts, to create a mental environment that supports your growth, and to challenge anything that tries to hold you back. It's not always easy, but it's always worth it. You are the master of your thoughts, and when you choose to fight negativity, you choose to become the best version of yourself. It's time to take control. It's time to train your mind to fight negativity every single day. The life you want is on the other side of this fight. So fight with everything you've got. Chapter 4. Break the habit of blaming and take full control. Blaming others for your problems is one of the most common traps people fall into. It's easy, it's comfortable, and it offers a temporary sense of relief. But it's also one of the most destructive things you can do for your life. When you blame others or circumstances, you're giving away your power. You're essentially saying, I am not in control. This person or situation is responsible for my life, my circumstances, my emotions, my future. And when you do that, you lose the ability to take charge of your life. You forfeit the very thing that can set you free. Personal responsibility. Taking control of your life means taking responsibility for everything that happens to you. I know it's hard to swallow, especially when things seem unfair or out of your control. But once you embrace full accountability for your actions, thoughts, and reactions, you unlock an incredible power to shape your future. Blaming is a defense mechanism, a way to deflect discomfort and avoid facing your own limitations or mistakes. But the reality is, when you refuse to take responsibility, you're giving away your opportunity to change. You can't fix what you don't own. One of the first steps in breaking the habit of blaming is realizing that nothing in life is purely one person's fault. It's never as simple as pointing a finger and saying, it's their fault, not mine. Life is complicated. Relationships are complicated. Problems are complicated. When you get caught up in blaming, you become focused on the past and the people who may or may not have contributed to your current situation. But here's the cold, hard truth. That won't change anything. It won't move you forward. It won't solve your problems. If you want to rebuild yourself, you have to let go of the victim mindset. You have to stop looking for someone to blame, whether it's your parents, your boss, your spouse, or even the economy. You must accept that you are the one responsible for how you respond to life's challenges. The key to success lies in taking full control of your circumstances by recognizing that you can change your own actions, reactions, and mindset. You are the creator of your destiny, not the victim of your circumstances. Now I know that sometimes life throws unfair punches. Sometimes things happen that are beyond your control, and those things hurt, they disrupt, and they leave scars. But here's the powerful truth. You still have control over how you respond. You have control over what you do next. You have control over what you learn from the situation and what you decide to make of it. Blaming others only keeps you stuck in the past. Taking responsibility propels you into the future with a sense of purpose and determination. You may be asking yourself, Jim, what if someone did something really wrong to me? What if I was treated unfairly? Well, let me tell you something. You cannot change the past. You can't undo what has already been done. But you have the power to decide how you move forward. You can choose to stay stuck in the hurt and anger, or you can choose to forgive, learn, and grow. It's not easy, but it's the only path to freedom. Blaming others and staying angry will only keep you in a prison of your own making. Taking control and learning from your experiences will set you free. Let's talk about what taking full responsibility looks like. It means accepting the consequences of your decisions, good or bad. It means no more excuses. It means understanding that your choices, your decisions have led you to where you are right now. That doesn't mean you should beat yourself up over past mistakes. It doesn't mean you should dwell on what went wrong. It simply means you own your part in your life's journey. You take full accountability for the results you have gotten, both positive and negative, because only then can you change them. Taking responsibility means you stop pointing fingers. When something goes wrong, You don't start looking for someone or something else to blame. Instead, you ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I improve? What could I have done differently? That's a much more productive question than saying, if only they hadn't done this, or it's all their fault. When you own the situation, you empower yourself to make better decisions in the future. And let me tell you, there's something incredibly freeing about realizing that you have the power to create your own life. The moment you stop blaming and take responsibility, you step into your power. You stop being a passive participant in your life and become an active creator of your destiny. You stop being a victim of your circumstances and start being the author of your story. I know it's not always easy. We all face challenges, setbacks, and people who treat us poorly. But here's the thing, we can't control what other people do. We can't control the actions of the world, but we can control how we respond to it. Taking full control means that you understand that your response to life's challenges is what shapes your reality, not the challenges themselves. Think about it for a second. When you blame, you're allowing someone else's actions to control your emotional state. You're letting someone else's mistakes or behavior dictate how you feel and how you show up in the world. But when you take responsibility, you regain control over your emotions and your actions. You no longer let others dictate your mood or determine your future. The next step in breaking the habit of blaming is to take action. When you stop blaming and start taking responsibility, you'll see immediate results. You'll start making decisions with intention. You'll start acting in ways that align with your goals. You'll start solving problems instead of complaining about them. And that's how you rebuild yourself, by becoming proactive, not reactive. By stepping into the role of the creator of your life, instead of the victim. This also means taking responsibility for your mindset. It means stopping the negative self-talk that says, I can't do this, or I'm not good enough. It means replacing those thoughts with I can do this, and I am capable. It means understanding that your thoughts are a reflection of your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your actions. If you keep blaming others or external circumstances for your situation, you will never change. But when you own your mindset and believe that you are in control, you can change anything. It's time to break free from the chains of blaming and take full control of your life. It's time to stop giving away your power and start stepping into your strength. When you take full responsibility for your actions, your thoughts, and your future, you create a life that is truly yours. A life where you are in control. A life where you are no longer a passive observer, but an active participant. No more excuses. No more blaming. Just full ownership and full control. Take charge of your life today, and watch how it transforms. Chapter 5. Sit alone daily and confront your inner chaos. In our fast-paced world, it's easy to become overwhelmed by external noise. We live in a time of constant distractions, the phone buzzing, people talking, social media demanding your attention, and the never-ending pressures of work, family, and life. But in all this noise, we often neglect the most important thing we can do for ourselves, sitting in silence, alone, and confronting the chaos inside our minds. It sounds simple, but it's one of the most powerful things you can do to transform your life. There's a lot of noise inside our minds, thoughts, worries, insecurities, past regrets, and future anxieties. If you never sit down and face these thoughts head-on, they will control you. They will dictate your actions, influence your emotions, and ultimately hold you back from becoming the person you are meant to be. The truth is, if you don't take the time to sit with yourself and confront this inner chaos, you'll never get the clarity and peace you need to grow. The noise inside your head will continue to pull you in different directions, making it harder to focus on what truly matters. Now, I'm not saying this is going to be easy. Confronting the inner chaos means facing the uncomfortable. It means sitting alone with your thoughts, without any distractions, and allowing whatever comes up to surface. It means acknowledging your fears, your doubts, and your insecurities. It means accepting that sometimes your mind is a battlefield, and the only way to find peace is to face the fight head-on. When you sit in silence, you give yourself the opportunity to process your thoughts. You give yourself the space to ask the hard questions. What's holding me back? Why do I feel this way? What's causing me to be stuck? By sitting in stillness, you allow yourself to tap into a deeper level of understanding. You begin to see things more clearly, from a place of calm and self-awareness, rather than from a place of stress and anxiety. Let me be clear, this isn't about just being alone or seeking solitude for the sake of it. This is about intentional quiet time. Time where you allow yourself to truly be with your thoughts, without judgment. When you sit alone and face your inner chaos, you create the opportunity for reflection, for understanding, and for growth. You stop running from yourself, and instead you give yourself the gift of clarity. In this time of solitude, you'll start to uncover the mental blocks that have been holding you back. Maybe it's fear of failure. Maybe it's a limiting belief that you're not good enough, or that you don't deserve success. Maybe it's a past experience that still lingers in your mind, preventing you from moving forward. Whatever it is, this is the moment where you begin to identify it, acknowledge it, and release its hold on you. When you confront your inner chaos, you begin to break down the walls that have been keeping you trapped in your own mind. You stop being a prisoner of your thoughts and start becoming the master of them. You realize that your mind doesn't have to control you. You have the power to control your mind, to direct your thoughts in the direction that serves you. But this isn't a one-time thing. Sitting alone with your thoughts needs to become a daily practice. It needs to be a habit that you build into your life. This is where real transformation happens. It's in those moments of quiet reflection that you begin to make sense of your life, your goals, and your purpose. When you take the time to listen to your inner voice, you start to hear the guidance that's been waiting for you all along. It's easy to ignore the chaos in our minds when we're busy. It's easy to fill every moment with noise, to distract ourselves from the discomfort we might feel when we sit in silence. But in doing so, we miss out on the clarity, insight, and growth that silence brings. We miss the opportunity to confront our fears and doubts head-on, and instead we allow them to keep us stuck in a cycle of confusion and indecision. But when you sit alone, when you give yourself the time and space to confront your inner chaos, you begin to see things differently. You begin to recognize patterns in your thinking, patterns that have been holding you back for years. You start to see the truth about what's been keeping you from reaching your potential. You start to understand that the only thing standing in your way is the way you've been thinking and reacting to the world around you. Now, I want you to imagine what it would be like to break free from that inner chaos. Imagine what it would feel like to have a calm, focused, and clear mind. Imagine waking up each day with a sense of purpose, direction, and peace. This is what happens when you commit to sitting alone and confronting your inner chaos every day. Over time, you will begin to build a mental strength that will carry you through any challenge. You will have the mental clarity to make better decisions, the emotional resilience to handle setbacks, and the confidence to pursue your goals with determination. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen. The more you practice sitting in silence and confronting your thoughts, the stronger your mind will become. You'll find that you're less reactive to the world around you. You'll find that you're more intentional in your actions and more focused on what matters most. You'll stop letting your emotions dictate your behavior, and instead you'll start to control your emotions. You'll stop being controlled by your fears, and instead you'll start making decisions from a place of inner strength and clarity. Sitting alone daily doesn't just give you a break from the chaos of the world, it helps you to confront the chaos inside yourself. It's through this practice of reflection that you build the foundation for a more focused, peaceful, and successful life. It's through facing your inner chaos that you become the person you need to be in order to create the life you want. So don't run from your thoughts. Don't avoid the discomfort. Embrace it. Sit alone every day. Confront the chaos and let it transform you. Because the person you become during this time of solitude is the person who will change your life. You will learn to master your mind, take control of your emotions, and live with purpose. The true power lies within you. And when you sit in silence, you give yourself the space to unleash it. Chapter 6. Build mental toughness by doing what you fear. To build mental toughness, you have to challenge your fears head-on. Fear is one of the most powerful emotions we experience, and yet it's also one of the biggest obstacles standing between you and the life you want to create. It's easy to think that mental toughness is something you either have or you don't, but that's not true. Mental toughness isn't a natural trait that some people are born with. It's a skill, a muscle that you can build over time by consistently doing the things that scare you. We all have fears. Some are obvious: fear of failure, fear of rejection, fear of looking foolish. Others are more subtle: fear of not being good enough, fear of what others might think, fear of change. And what do most of us do when we're faced with fear? We avoid it. We make excuses. We talk ourselves out of doing the thing that scares us. We hope that by ignoring our fears, they'll go away. But they never do. Instead, they only grow stronger, more pervasive, and more paralyzing. The truth is, the only way to overcome fear is to face it. Not just once, not just when it's convenient, but every single day. You need to put yourself in situations that make you uncomfortable, that challenge you, and that force you to confront your fears. Because when you do, you start to see that fear isn't as powerful as you once thought. Fear only has power over you when you allow it to control your actions. Building mental toughness starts with doing the things you fear. Think about something that scares you right now. Maybe it's speaking in front of a crowd. Maybe it's taking a leap in your career. Maybe it's having a difficult conversation with someone you care about. Whatever it is, the only way to move past that fear is to face it head-on. And the more you do it, the more you build your mental toughness. It's easy to say, "I want to be mentally tough," but the only way to develop that toughness is by putting yourself in challenging situations on a regular basis. You can't grow without pushing your limits. Mental toughness is about consistently doing what scares you, about showing up even when you're not sure of the outcome. It's about facing your fears and moving forward anyway. The fear of failure is one of the most common fears we all experience. It holds so many people back from going after their dreams, from taking the risks necessary to achieve success. But here's the reality. Failure is not the end. Failure is a part of the process. If you want to be mentally tough, you need to learn how to embrace failure, not as something to avoid, but as something to learn from. Every time you fail, you grow. Every time you fail, you become stronger. So instead of running from failure, you need to run toward it. When you're willing to fail, you stop seeing it as something that defines you, and you start seeing it as a stepping stone toward success. Each failure teaches you something important about yourself, your abilities, and what you need to do next. If you want to build mental toughness, you need to make failure a part of your daily life. Don't shy away from challenges because they seem risky. Dive into them with everything you have, knowing that every setback is just another lesson in your journey. Another fear that many people struggle with is the fear of rejection. This fear can be paralyzing because it's so closely tied to our sense of self-worth. The fear of being rejected by others, of not being accepted, can prevent us from pursuing relationships, career opportunities, or new experiences. But here's the truth. Rejection is not a reflection of your worth. It's just a part of life. Everyone experiences it. It's how you respond to rejection that matters. When you make rejection your teacher, you begin to see it as just another opportunity to grow. Each time you're rejected, it builds your resilience. You learn how to bounce back faster, how to take it less personally, and how to keep moving forward despite the setbacks. Rejection is not the end of the road, it's just a detour that redirects you toward a better path. So when you face the fear of rejection, you learn to keep going, no matter what. You don't let it stop you from taking the next step, from moving toward what you really want. Fear of change is another obstacle that many people face. We become comfortable with our routines, our surroundings, and the way things are. But if you want to build mental toughness, you need to be willing to embrace change. Change is inevitable. Life will continue to evolve, and so must you. The more you fight against change, the more resistance you create for yourself. The more you embrace it, the more you grow. When you step outside your comfort zone and face the fear of change, you start to see the incredible opportunities that lie on the other side. You begin to realize that change isn't something to fear, but something to embrace. It's a chance to reinvent yourself, to try new things, and to break free from old patterns that no longer serve you. The more you welcome change, the more adaptable and resilient you become. And as you build your mental toughness, you become stronger in the face of uncertainty and more confident in your ability to handle whatever life throws your way. If you want to build mental toughness, you must be willing to face all your fears. No matter how big or small, they all hold you back in some way. But the more you challenge yourself, the more you push through the discomfort, the stronger you become. Fear has no power over you when you choose to act despite it. The only thing that stands between you and your goals is your willingness to take action, to step into the unknown, and to do what scares you. Remember, mental toughness is not about being fearless. It's about taking action, even when you feel fear. It's about moving forward despite your doubts. It's about doing what you fear, because that's where growth happens. Every time you do something that scares you, you're building your mental toughness, one step at a time, so don't wait for fear to go away. Face it, challenge it, and use it to become the strongest version of yourself. You don't need to be a superhero. You don't need to have some magical ability to overcome fear. All you need is the willingness to take action, to do what scares you, and to keep moving forward no matter what. The more you do this, the more you will realize that fear is not something that holds power over you. Fear is something you can use to fuel your growth. So take action today. Build your mental toughness. Do what you fear, and watch yourself become stronger with every step you take. Chapter 7. Speak to yourself with honesty and direct clarity. When it comes to building a powerful, successful life, one of the most important skills you can develop is the ability to speak to yourself with honesty and direct clarity. The conversations you have with yourself are the foundation of everything you do. Whether you're aware of it or not, you're constantly talking to yourself. And this self-talk shapes your reality. It impacts your beliefs, your actions, your decisions, and ultimately your life. If you're not speaking to yourself with honesty, if you're not being clear with yourself, you're setting yourself up for confusion, frustration, and stagnation. It's easy to fall into the trap of pretending everything is fine when it's not. It's easy to tell yourself what you want to hear rather than what you need to hear. But this kind of self-deception does more harm than good. When you lie to yourself, you create a disconnect between what's really happening and what you're telling yourself is happening. And when you live in this disconnect, you make poor decisions. You make excuses. You stay stuck in places you don't want to be just because you're not willing to face the truth. Being honest with yourself is the first step toward self-improvement. It's the key to unlocking the potential within you. When you speak to yourself clearly and directly, you're acknowledging what's going on in your life. You're taking full responsibility for your actions, your choices, and your circumstances. You're not making excuses or blaming others for your situation. Instead, you're owning your part in the story, and from that place of ownership, you can make powerful changes. Honesty with yourself allows you to take an accurate assessment of where you are and where you want to go. It's easy to get lost in the shoulds and woulds of life. I should be further along by now. I should have a better job. I should have more money. But shoulds aren't helpful. They only serve to highlight what you don't have, and they keep you stuck in a place of dissatisfaction. Honesty, on the other hand, gets to the heart of the matter. It looks at where you really are, without judgment or fantasy. And from that place of clarity, you can begin to chart a true course toward where you want to go. This doesn't mean that being honest with yourself is easy. In fact, it's often uncomfortable. The truth can be painful. It can be difficult to admit that you've been avoiding something, procrastinating, or not living up to your potential. But the pain of honesty is always less than the pain of living a life based on lies. The longer you avoid facing the truth, the more damage you do to your growth. The more you tell yourself stories about why you're not where you want to be, the harder it becomes to take action and move forward. Honesty breaks that cycle. It forces you to look at the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it is, so you can deal with it and move on. When you speak to yourself with honesty, you become clear about your values, your priorities, and your goals. You stop pretending to be someone you're not, or pretending that you want things you don't really want. You stop chasing goals that aren't aligned with who you truly are. Honesty gives you the clarity you need to make decisions that are in line with your true self. You stop being influenced by external pressures, by what other people think you should want, and you start making choices that are true to your own vision for your life. Another key part of speaking to yourself with clarity is being direct. When you speak to yourself clearly and directly, you cut through the noise. You stop making excuses and start taking action. You stop being vague and start being specific about what you need to do to achieve your goals. Directness allows you to focus your energy where it matters most. It helps you avoid distractions and get straight to work on the things that will move you forward. Being direct with yourself also means holding yourself accountable. It's easy to get caught up in self-pity or frustration when things aren't going as planned. It's easy to blame others, or blame circumstances, or even blame bad luck. But speaking to yourself directly means taking ownership of the situation. It means asking yourself hard questions. What am I doing to contribute to this problem? What can I do differently? Where can I improve? How can I take more responsibility for my results? These are the questions that help you grow. They force you to stop looking outside for answers and start looking inward. The power of honesty and clarity is also in its ability to guide your decisions. When you're clear with yourself about what you want and why you want it, your decisions become much easier. You stop wasting time and energy on things that don't matter. You stop making choices out of fear, guilt, or obligation, and you start making choices based on what you truly believe is best for you. This is the path of personal empowerment. It's the path of confidence, because when you speak to yourself with clarity, you know exactly what you want and why you want it. You know what you need to do to get there, and you're not afraid to take the necessary steps, even if they're difficult or uncomfortable. The habit of speaking to yourself with honesty and clarity also leads to self-acceptance. When you stop pretending and start being real with yourself, you begin to accept yourself for who you are. This doesn't mean accepting mediocrity or complacency. It means accepting where you are right now without judgment. It means looking at your strengths and weaknesses, your successes and failures, and seeing them as part of the whole picture of who you are. Only when you truly accept yourself can you make the changes necessary to grow and improve. The key to this is developing a habit of self-reflection. Take time each day to look at your life and ask yourself honest questions. Am I being true to myself? What do I really want? What's holding me back? These questions may not always have easy answers, but they will give you the clarity you need to make better decisions and take better action. Ultimately, speaking to yourself with honesty and clarity is about becoming your own best ally. It's about treating yourself with respect, acknowledging your weaknesses without judgment, and pushing yourself to be the best version of yourself. When you can look in the mirror and speak to yourself with directness, without hesitation or avoidance, you empower yourself to take full control of your life. You stop being a passive observer and start being the creator of your own reality. Honesty and clarity are not easy to come by. They require courage. But once you develop the habit of speaking to yourself this way, you will find that the truth is empowering. You'll begin to see your life more clearly. You'll be more confident in your choices. You'll take more consistent action toward your goals. And most importantly, you'll be able to trust yourself because you know that you're being real with yourself every single day. And that's where the real power lies. Chapter 8. Commit to silence distractions that drain your strength. When it comes to personal growth and creating the life you want, distractions are the enemy. They come in many forms, from the noise in your environment to the internal chatter in your mind. These distractions pull you away from your purpose, deplete your energy, and leave you scattered. The most powerful thing you can do to reclaim your focus and strength is commit to silencing those distractions that drain your energy. Every day we face countless distractions. There are external distractions, like the constant stream of notifications on your phone, the distractions of social media, the endless cycle of news, and the noise from the world around us. These distractions are easy to see and often harder to ignore, but the more subtle and perhaps more dangerous distractions come from within. These are the thoughts, doubts, and fears that invade your mind and divert your attention from what truly matters. You might not realize how much these distractions are controlling your life. They seem harmless at first, a quick check of your phone, a few minutes scrolling through social media, a little detour into worry or fear. But these small moments add up over time, and before you know it, you've wasted hours of your life on things that don't move you forward. You're spending your energy on the wrong things, and it leaves you feeling drained, defeated, and unproductive. The first step in silencing distractions is to become aware of them. Pay attention to where your mind goes when you're not consciously focused. Where does your energy go? What thoughts dominate your mind? Is it worry about things outside your control? Is it self-doubt that holds you back from taking action, or is it a constant barrage of information and noise that leaves you mentally exhausted? Once you identify these distractions, you need to take control. You have the power to decide what you will and won't allow to occupy your time and energy. The truth is, distractions are often a form of avoidance. We distract ourselves because we don't want to face something uncomfortable, whether it's a task we've been putting off, a difficult conversation, or a challenge that requires our full attention. But avoiding these things only makes them harder. It's like trying to carry a heavy load, but refusing to set it down and rest. The longer you hold on to that weight, the more exhausted you become. Committing to silence distractions means committing to focus. It's about protecting your time and energy with intention. Every time you allow yourself to be pulled into a distraction, you're letting something else control your life. But when you silence those distractions, you take back control. You become the master of your own attention. You decide what matters and where your energy goes. One of the most powerful ways to silence distractions is to create boundaries. Set specific times for when you will engage with external sources of distraction, like social media or entertainment. Don't let these things hijack your day. Give yourself permission to focus on what's most important during the hours when you need to be productive. You don't have to be constantly available to everyone. You don't have to respond to every notification the moment it arrives. When you commit to silence the distractions, you create space for deeper focus and greater productivity. Another important aspect of silencing distractions is creating a physical environment that supports your goals. If your surroundings are cluttered with things that pull you away from your work or goals, it's much harder to stay focused. Take a moment to look around you. Are there things in your space that invite distraction? Maybe it's your phone sitting on your desk or the television in the background. Maybe it's the clutter in your office that creates a sense of chaos. Clean up your space. Remove anything that doesn't serve your purpose and make sure your environment is conducive to the kind of work you want to do. But silencing distractions isn't just about your physical space, it's also about managing your mental space. It's about quieting the internal noise that keeps you from focusing on what really matters. One of the most powerful ways to do this is through mindfulness and meditation. By taking time each day to sit in stillness, you train your mind to focus. You allow yourself to step away from the chaos and reconnect with your inner peace. When you practice mindfulness, you become more aware of your thoughts and emotions, and you can more easily detach from the distractions that arise in your mind. Another key aspect of silencing distractions is setting clear goals. When you know what you're working toward, it's much easier to say no to the things that don't align with your goals. Distractions often feel tempting because they pull us away from discomfort. They offer an escape from the hard work we need to do. But when you have a clear vision of what you want, it becomes easier to resist the urge to get sidetracked. Your goals give you direction and purpose. They become the filter through which you evaluate whether something is worth your time or not. Remember that distractions are not just external or mental, they can also be emotional. Fear, anxiety and self-doubt are powerful distractions that can drain your strength. They keep you from taking action and can lead you to procrastinate. When you're feeling overwhelmed by these emotions, it's easy to get stuck in a cycle of negative thinking, but you have the power to break that cycle. One way to do this is by confronting those emotions directly. Ask yourself, what am I really afraid of? What's the worst that could happen? By challenging these emotions, you can reduce their power over you. You can create space for confidence and courage to take their place. Silencing distractions is not about eliminating everything that takes up your time. It's about choosing where to focus your energy. It's about prioritizing the things that move you forward and eliminating the things that keep you stuck. It's about getting clear on your values and aligning your actions with them. When you commit to this practice, you become unstoppable. You start to see results in your life because you're no longer scattered, no longer pulled in a million different directions. You are focused, you are intentional, and you are building the life you've always wanted. The key to silencing distractions is understanding that every time you allow something to pull your attention away from your goals, you're giving away your power. You're letting the world dictate where your energy goes. But when you choose to eliminate those distractions, you take your power back. You decide where to invest your time and energy. You decide how to use your mental and emotional strength. This is what leads to success. This is how you build the life you deserve. Chapter 9. Push through mental fatigue by choosing discipline daily. There are moments in life when the weight of mental fatigue feels unbearable. It creeps in slowly at first, a slight tiredness, a diminishing focus. But before you know it, it's overwhelming. Every task seems harder than it should be, and the desire to give in is stronger than your will to push through. This is when the real test begins. You are faced with a decision: continue pushing forward or give in to the mental exhaustion. The key to overcoming these moments is not found in motivation, but in discipline. Discipline is the antidote to mental fatigue. It's the power to choose action even when your mind screams for rest. Every day presents an opportunity to strengthen your discipline, and that is the most critical choice you can make. Discipline is not about being perfect every moment of every day. It's about making the right decision consistently. It's about the small, everyday actions that lead to mastery, growth, and success. When you push through mental fatigue by choosing discipline, you take control of your life and break free from the chains of weakness. Mental fatigue can feel like an invisible force that weighs you down, but it's not invincible. Your body is capable of extraordinary feats, and so is your mind. The first step to overcoming mental fatigue is recognizing that it is temporary. It doesn't last forever unless you let it. It can feel all-encompassing, but when you push through it, you grow stronger. Mental fatigue is not a signal to stop. It's a signal to dig deeper. It's a challenge to rise above the discomfort and refuse to give in. When you feel mentally exhausted, it's easy to convince yourself that you deserve a break or that it's okay to rest. And yes, rest is essential, but there's a difference between true rest and simply giving in to the urge to quit. Quitting in the face of mental fatigue doesn't solve the problem. It only makes it harder to push through next time. But when you choose to stay disciplined, when you choose to keep moving forward despite your mental exhaustion, you break the cycle of procrastination and avoidance. You prove to yourself that you are stronger than your fatigue. This is how you build resilience, and resilience is the foundation of success. The real battle is often not with the external world, but within yourself. You will encounter countless distractions and excuses that will try to pull you away from your goals. The hardest moments are often the quiet ones when no one is watching, when the world is asleep, and you're left with just yourself and your thoughts. In those moments, it's easy to listen to your mind's excuses. It's easy to convince yourself that you can't go any further, that you're too tired, or that tomorrow is a better time. But that's when you need discipline the most. Discipline is the ability to keep moving when your mind says no. It's choosing action when every part of you wants to give up. When you push through mental fatigue, you not only overcome the exhaustion of the moment, but you also reprogram your mind for success. Discipline trains you to act regardless of how you feel. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or the ideal amount of energy. It's about doing the work anyway. It's about showing up, even when the effort feels like too much. Over time, this becomes a habit. And once discipline becomes a habit, mental fatigue loses its power over you. You don't wait for motivation to strike. You simply act. You are in control. One of the most effective ways to build discipline and push through mental fatigue is by breaking your tasks down into smaller, more manageable parts. The larger the task, the more daunting it can seem, and that can fuel the feeling of exhaustion before you even begin. When your mind is fatigued, you might feel overwhelmed by the sheer size of the project in front of you. But discipline teaches you to take it one step at a time. You don't need to do everything at once. You simply need to do the next thing. Whether that's writing a paragraph, making a phone call, or completing a small task, every action counts. Every step forward is a victory. This process of focusing on the next step, rather than the whole picture, helps keep mental fatigue at bay. It gives you control over what you can do, and it ensures that progress is always being made. Another way to push through mental fatigue is by taking intentional breaks, but with clear boundaries. The key here is to distinguish between rest and escape. Rest is a conscious, intentional pause to recharge. It allows you to return to your work with more energy and focus. Escape, on the other hand, is when you check out mentally, telling yourself you deserve to do something else entirely, like wasting time on distractions. True rest allows you to reset your mind and body, but escaping into distractions only drains you more. It leaves you feeling emptier and more fatigued. Sometimes you must also push through the physical discomfort that accompanies mental fatigue. When you feel exhausted, it's easy to believe your body is telling you to stop, to lie down and rest. But many times, the fatigue is more about your mental state than your physical limits. Pushing through mental fatigue requires learning how to move beyond those feelings. It means showing up and doing the work despite the exhaustion. It's a skill that can be honed. It's about understanding that the mind has its limits, but it can also stretch further than you realize. The more you push through mental fatigue, the more your mental muscles grow. You train yourself to handle stress, to handle pressure, and to handle discomfort without breaking down. The key to pushing through mental fatigue is not in ignoring the exhaustion, but in choosing how to respond to it. You can choose to let it control you, or you can choose to control it. Discipline is the force that helps you make the right choice. It's the ability to stay committed to your goals, to show up even when you don't feel like it, and to take action despite your mental state. The more you practice this discipline, the less mental fatigue will hold you back. You'll find that, over time, your ability to push through becomes second nature. It becomes who you are. In those moments when mental fatigue feels overwhelming, remember this fatigue is temporary, but discipline is a powerful tool that can carry you through. You're capable of so much more than you think. The battle is not in the fatigue itself, but in your ability to keep going when everything inside you wants to stop. By choosing discipline over comfort, by deciding to push through, you not only overcome the mental exhaustion of the moment, you also unlock your full potential. Chapter 10. Force yourself to act when you feel resistance. Resistance is a natural part of the process. It is a feeling that everyone experiences at some point in their lives, especially when attempting something challenging. Resistance doesn't care about your goals or your intentions. It doesn't care how much you desire success. It shows up at the worst possible moments when you need to act the most. It's the voice in your head telling you to stay comfortable, to wait for the right time, to procrastinate, or to make excuses. It's the feeling that stops you in your tracks, making you believe that now is not the right moment to act. This resistance is a silent enemy. It whispers to you in a calm, persuasive tone, convincing you that you deserve a break, that you can start tomorrow, that it's okay to delay. It doesn't scream or shout, but it's powerful. It's a force that can prevent you from making progress, from achieving your potential, from moving forward in life. But here's the thing about resistance. It doesn't control you unless you let it. The key is not to wait for the resistance to disappear, because it won't. The key is to act in spite of it, to force yourself to act when you feel the resistance building up. When you feel resistance, it's not an indication to stop. It's a sign that you are on the verge of growth, that you are pushing the limits of your comfort zone. Resistance is a companion to progress. It only appears when you are about to make a leap, whether it's in your personal growth, your career, or any other area of life. It is the body's natural way of trying to preserve the familiar, the safe, and the easy. However, the only way to grow, the only way to improve, is by stepping outside of the familiar, into the discomfort. This is where real growth happens. And you can only reach this space by forcing yourself to act when resistance is most present. It's easy to make excuses for yourself. It's easy to say, "I'm not ready," or "it's too difficult." But this is the trap of resistance. It gets you stuck in a cycle of overthinking, second-guessing, and indecision. It keeps you in the planning stage for far longer than necessary. But when you force yourself to act, you break that cycle. You stop the overthinking, stop the hesitation, and take the first step. You stop waiting for the perfect moment and realize that the perfect moment never comes. The time to act is always now. Action, no matter how small, is the antidote to resistance. One of the first things to understand is that resistance does not indicate a lack of ability or readiness. Resistance is not a reflection of your potential or your capabilities. It's a sign that you are pushing beyond your comfort zone, and that's a good thing. When you feel resistance, it means you are stepping into unknown territory, and that's where the magic happens. You must push past the discomfort and continue to move forward. It's when you resist the resistance that you truly unlock your potential. The more you force yourself to act, the easier it becomes over time. This isn't about forcing yourself to take action blindly. It's not about forcing yourself to take actions that don't align with your goals or values. It's about forcing yourself to take the next step, even when it feels uncomfortable. When resistance shows up, it's tempting to wait for motivation to kick in, to wait for the mood to be right. But motivation is fickle. It doesn't always show up when you need it most. Discipline, however, will always serve you. The key is not to wait for motivation to act, but to act regardless of how you feel. When you make the decision to act, you take control. You are no longer a passive participant in your life, waiting for things to happen. Instead, you become the driver of your own destiny. There will always be a voice in your head telling you that now is not the time, that you should wait, that it's too hard, that you're not good enough, or that it's easier to give up. But you can choose to ignore that voice. You can choose to act anyway. When you push through resistance, you silence the voice of doubt and move forward. The more you force yourself to act, the quieter that voice becomes, and the louder your inner strength grows. You don't have to wait for the conditions to be perfect. They never will be. There will always be something that seems off. There will always be an obstacle, a distraction, or a reason to wait. But successful people don't wait for perfect conditions. They act despite the obstacles, despite the distractions. They understand that the real growth comes not from waiting, but from doing. The key to overcoming resistance is to take that first step, no matter how difficult it feels. Once you start, momentum will take over. The resistance will still be there, but it will lose its power over you. You'll start to find that the more you act, the more you push through resistance, the more you get comfortable with discomfort. And that's when you grow. The practice of forcing yourself to act when you feel resistance also teaches you self-trust. Often the resistance we feel is tied to a lack of confidence in our own abilities. We start to question whether we're capable of achieving what we set out to do. But the act of pushing through that resistance builds self-trust. Every time you act in the face of resistance, you prove to yourself that you can handle it. You prove that you can follow through, that you can rise above your doubts and fears. This builds a strong foundation of self-belief, and the more you practice it, the more natural it becomes. Resistance will always be there, but it's up to you whether you allow it to control you. The more you push through, the less power it holds over you. And when you consistently act in the face of resistance, you begin to notice that you achieve more, you grow stronger, and you feel more empowered. Every time you face resistance and choose to act, you become a little more unstoppable. You move closer to the person you are meant to be. The person who takes action, who pushes forward, and who never lets fear or doubt hold them back. The key is to stop waiting and start doing. You have the power to overcome resistance, but it starts with making the decision to act. When you do, you'll realize that resistance is not your enemy, it's your opportunity to grow. It's the challenge that marks the boundary between where you are now and where you want to be. So take that step, even when it feels difficult. Act now. The future you want starts with the actions you take today.